Okay, so now we're going to start building a class which we're going to call Mesh Builder. Now this class will help us make procedural 3D meshes. We're going to go into Unity and we're going to create a new project. We're going to create a folder called Scripts. And within Scripts, we're going to make a new script called Mesh Builder. So let's load that up. So our mesh builder is going to be a class, not a mono behavior. So let's remove mono behavior from the top here. What we're going to use this for is adding triangles and building a mesh that we can put into a mesh filter to be rendered by a mesh renderer. So let's add these functions. So we're going to go ahead and add the function build triangle, and we're also going to create a function called create mesh, and that's going to return a mesh. If we think back to previous lessons, if we're going to build a mesh, we need vertices, triangle indices, normals, UVs, and submesh indices. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some variables to store this data. We're going to make a list for our vertex data. Our vertex data is expressed as vector 3s. So that'll keep all of the points in our mesh. Next, we're going to create the indices for the triangles. So we're going to make a list of ints. Now what we're going to do is add these indices in 3s. So if we want to add a triangle made up of vertices 0, 1, and 2 in the list we just made, we add the ints 0, 1, and 2 to this list. Now, it's actually possible to make some meshes with just that information, but seeing as we want some control, let's add some normals and UVs. So again, normals, we create a list of vector 3s that describe the direction of each vertex. And UVs with the UV coordinates described as a vector 2. Again, don't worry too much about UVs at the moment. We're also going to create another collection like the triangle indices, but we're going to call it submesh indices. We're also going to make this an array. The reasons why will become clear as we continue. Okay, so now we've created some lists to store our data. Let's move on to some actual logic. So let's start creating the logic to build a triangle in our mesh builder. So this function is going to populate the data in our lists to create a triangle. First, we're going to add some parameters. So we're going to add 3 positions that make up the corners of each triangles: P0, P1, and P2. A vector 3 for the normal, and an int for the submesh. We'll come back to submeshes momentarily. So let's start populating our lists. So let's add P0, P1, and P2 to the vertices lists. We need to add some normals 3 times, once for each vertex. And for this tutorial, we're going to add some basic UV data. UV data is always between 0 and 1, so let's just do this for now. So now there's actually not much left to do. Very simple once you understand what's happening. We need to add the data to our indices, our triangle indices, and our submesh indices. So we need to get the index in the vertex list to the vertices we just added. So before we add to the vertex lists, if we look at the vertices count, we can get the index for the next 3 points. So let's make these into ints. P0 index, P1 index, and P2 index. Next, we just need to add these values to the triangle indices and submesh indices. This is going to be what creates the triangles. Again, our submesh indices are telling the renderer what material to use for each triangle. It's very important that you're populating each list with the correct data. If we only added the UVs, normals, and things once, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't have the data it needed. That was actually quite simple, wasn't it? Before we populate our create mesh function, we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at how Unity displays a mesh.